Hello, everybody out there. This is the Let's Talk presents King's Dream Pop Up. Tonight we have Brian Donald James, author and poet. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on the show again. It's always a pleasure to be back on the Poetry Corner.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, why don't you let the audience know who you are, where you from, what you got going on?
Sure. My name is Brian Donald James. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, but I spent the last 30 years out here in Manassas, Virginia, and Prince William County. I returned to writing 2.5 years ago after hearing a voice say, "I got you. Go follow your dreams." And since then, I've become a United Nations award-winning poet among maybe 6 to 8 other awards. And I've been published in over 40 anthologies. I've had offers for full-length manuscripts and books, but I'm just waiting on the right offer right now. Um, the first two things that ever pop out of my mouth if you meet me is empathy and humbleness, and that's how I live my life. And again, like I said, it's an honor being on your show.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you being on the show. You know what I mean? Coming with that razzmatazz. You know what I mean? Got your own unique style of, you know, flourishing your spoken word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I notice my spirit vibrates on a certain frequency at a certain speed. I try not to go above it or below it, and I try to stay even keel in everything that I do. You know,
Okay.
don't let the failures get too hard on you, and I don't let the successes make my head big. So
Okay. Excuse me. So, how do you feel about poetry influencing the world, or the world influencing your poetry? You know,
my poetry or poetry in general.
well, your poetry, everybody's poetry, just being a part of the community of poets.
I mean, it's an honor. Not everybody can do this. There are people we're blessed with many different skills. The Creator gives us many different skills. Some people can paint. Some people can play instruments. Some people slam basketballs and great athletes. I'm none of that. but I can write a little bit, and it's an honor to do that. I think it definitely is good for the world. It gives people a place to manifest their emotions
Mhm.
and a chance to connect. Um, and I really enjoy it. When I was 15, I it was amazing to me how you can read something from 200, 300, 400 years ago. An artist will write a poem,
Yeah.
and that I could feel the way that they felt, uh, through their words.
Mhm.
And that has always been just fascinating to me. So that hopefully, long after I've made my transition, somebody can read my words and it can comfort them, in a time of turmoil in their lives. So I think poetry is essential. It goes hand in hand with human beings.
That's what's up. How do you feel about the different genres of poetry?
um they're like flavors of ice cream. I mean, I love them all. I respect them all. I've been blessed to have been a poetry judge for uh, uh, many different organizations,
Hmm.
and so you come across a great deal of variety of poetry.
Right.
And so I respect all the genres. I'm really impressed with I call them the energy poets. The ones that can just stand up and spit something that's 3 or 4
Yeah.
pages long with inflection and energy and things of that nature.
Right.
um that's not really my particular style of poetry. I'm more of a, a podium poet, I call it. Where I work on something and I craft it till it's where I want it to be,
Right.
and then I use my voice to help, and team to uh, deliver a good product that way. And I pursue academia, meaning that I want my stuff in libraries and things of this nature. Um, I love the energy poets, but I always tell them when I get a chance, I think your poetry is awesome, but you want something that stands up on the words alone. It just can't be about the energy because
Right.
that doesn't sell units. And there's a part of, we have to be businessmen as well. We're trying to sell units. We're trying to sell books.
Yeah.
So the energy poets, they will spit their performance,
Yeah.
uh, and then you got to capitalize while the audience is there. Whereas if you're a
Mm,
good writer, it's on autopilot. They'll pick your book up just for the quality, of the words.
okay. So, how do you feel, or what do you think it is that a poet can do to like grab the attention of the audience? You know what I mean? Like
Well,
as they
well,
always say, reel them in. You know what I mean?
right. Well, be genuine. Like I said, empathy. Humbleness. When I have a performance or anything or interview or anything, I imagine that we're just having a cup of tea, having a cup of coffee, sitting at my dining room table, just having a conversation. And I try not to be too charming. Don't overthink things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes people try to sound, I want to say all these profound things, and then you wind up saying something that wish that you didn't say later. And then what you want to do is connect. You want to connect. And I do that by using a pleasant tone when I speak. I'm never going to be yelling at somebody. You know, uh, when I get on stage.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, I'm just going to be humble. I'm just going to try to connect. I'm going to make sure that I have a quality product before I get on stage.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, it's autopilot. You just read and, come with that passion. And, each poet has its own speed. Um, and, like I said, I'm at a certain speed. I try not to go outside of that.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment where you was amongst other poets and things went left, like right off the prompt? Like you're covering basis of this, everybody's in the whole sequence, and all of a sudden you hear a poem, and it's like oh wow, like shock, shell shock. Like how's that experience? Like let everybody know how a person can experience something
There have
challenging.
been certain instances that that I wonder. A part of this goes back to your first question. Um, Knowing your audience, you have to know who you're addressing.
Uh-huh,
And I think the most uh, vibrant one that I remember is there was an audience full of children,
uh-huh,
and there was a panel of poets, and the poets started to curse and things of this nature. And in my mind, I'm thinking it's a bad reflection on the poet for not knowing his audience, although they were visually, you can see this was not a Zoom meeting, this was a live performance.
right.
And then when you see that there are children in the audience, you switch you have backup poems, you switch your game.
Uh-huh,
Um, but it wasn't only a bad reflection on him, but it was a bad reflection to everybody on the panel,
right.
you know. Um, so what I try to do is I try to find out from the organizers, what type of genre is going to be. And you might not fit well with the panel that they've selected. And my mentality is that it's not about me all the time. I would step aside and let other people shine. If I think my poetry might not fit with something, then I would decline, being a part of it, um, because I just don't think that my work might fit. So, that's how I feel about that.
So let me ask you, what influences you to write? You know what I mean? Like what gives you that "Mm, I'm about to get busy."
Well, Um, I think every poet universally would say loneliness, loneliness or sadness, and the desire to make beauty out of it. We want to change the energy of things. That's why I say we are a blessed set of people to have this ability, or well, any artist really, to create something that evokes a mood is a wonderful power. You know,
Mhm.
um, I don't mean to be, I'm not going to go overly, try to say something profound because it really isn't. But um, I had friends when I was growing up, and they liked to read comic books about superheroes and things of this nature.
Yeah.
But that whole genre is just a manifestation of, human beings. We already have superpowers. Some of us have the power of kindness. Some of us have the loyalty. These are superhero traits too. Being an artist, being able to work with your hands on something, even being able to put together a business deal. These things take skills and they take a genius. We're all geniuses, is what I'm trying to say, in many various different ways. So that's how I feel about that one.
Well, I don't know if you knew this was coming, but you
What's
got a
that?
poem. You got a poem for us tonight. I mean, just to
Sure. Yeah, I'm always prepared. This is a poem I believe I might have shared before, but again, I'm not arrogant enough to think that everybody knows, my pieces. So I'm gonna share this piece. It's called "Blind." I just like reading it. It's a love poem,
okay.
and I really like reading it because it goes into um, the depths of what love can be.
Uh,
Blind.
Stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Yet even when I close my eyes and fall into the abstract art ablaze in color against my inner blackness, your image beckons through. An outline etched in a vivid shade, in stellar points of light, I see you, like moonbeams on the dark seas of my mind. And on this shoreline of eternity, I stand on notice, on the abyss of an endless void. As you ebb and flow with my pulse, you are the pattern of my heartbeat. And when I close my eyes, I find myself almost wishing to be blind, if only to touch you in new dimensions and make love to you in new depths. Go deeper than thy flesh. I want to know thy essence, the destination where marrow and bone are replaced with stardust and cosmos, where your soul is free. I want to know you there, my love. And yes, I would choose to remain blind, to be forever cast in ebony, save for your likeness, save for your image. Yes, this would be the better blessing, indeed, my heaven. In peace. Thank you.
All right. That's Brian Donnell James, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, and for
Thank you
all
so
of
much.
those listening in, click like and subscribe to the channel. For without y'all, there's no us. Water
Mhm.
me, we water y'all. But, that's what's up, man. So, what influenced that poem? Who influenced? So, what was the name? What was the influence to have you write that poem?
Well, one night quite frankly, I just closed my eyes, and when you close your eyes, there are a myriad of colors
Mhm.
and things that are at the forefront of your mind. And I wanted to go to a new dimension as far as expressing love,
Yeah,
for a woman, and I just that's what I came up with, and I just crafted it, and you know I thought it came out okay.
that's what's up.
Yes,
Yeah, sometimes we get these ideas, like you said, close your eyes and start to wake up out of your slumber and start manifesting.
exactly, exactly. Especially at night, You get these wonderful poems, and how many times of all the poets out there, how many times you're at rest and you just have to wake up and write down the poems that's in your mind while you're resting,
Yeah,
because in the morning it's going to be gone.
yeah, those lines come to you.
That
Yeah.
deadline come to you, but they come away. It's like so you have to get up and at least write little notes to yourself so that you can go back in the morning. And quite frankly, sometimes I do that and it
Mhm.
sounds so good while I'm resting, and then in the morning I'm like, what is this garbage? You know what I'm saying? And so it swings
Yeah,
both ways.
yeah. I've went to sleep and woken up 2 in the morning sometimes. I'm
Hmm.
like, why am I up this? I'm like, you know what? I might as well just start trying to write something. Then
Correct.
I'll get something going. Try to go back to sleep. And I'm like, I can't go back to sleep. I gotta. I feel like that's God telling me, yo, you gotta finish that. but
Absolutely.
it, but you like you said, the thoughts is right there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we can get influences from anywhere, people, places, things. You know what I mean? So
That's true. Memories. I
yeah,
mean,
that's the best for our memories, or even
exactly.
evolution. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
You might
Indeed.
see, you
I
might
couldn't
see,
I couldn't
find
agree with
something
you more.
beautiful and desirable or whatever, and just be like, you know what? You get that feeling, and you like, I'm gonna see what I can spike that. You know what I mean? So
Correct. Correct. And see if I can um make it immortal. When I write, I want pieces. Back in the day I used to be a rapper, believe it or not. And I wanted to make pieces that, if I had an album, so to speak, I want you to be able to rock that album 20 years from now. I
mm,
wanted to be an artist like Bob Marley, like
right,
John Coltrane, like the art that they created is eternal. That's the word I'm looking for.
uh-huh,
You know, it's eternal. It's not fad stuff. It's not,
right.
and to me, that's the best thing, you know, when you can create something like that. And that's by my approach to writing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are some of the spots where you recited your poetry at?
Several Penn State, the new school in Manhattan. I just did that. George Mason, Montana State, Howard, several universities, across the country. I've just booked a gig in England,
Mm,
um, due to a friend of mine, my dear friend, Dr. Hiram LaRue. He's one of the, if not the world's leader in fighting hunger and security.
right.
He's a doctor out of Oregon State, University of Georgia. I've done a lot of academic performances and things, especially after the United Nations poetry, when poetry, that was a combination with United Nations and Poetry X Hunger
Mm,
group. Um, so I've been blessed, like I said, over the last 2.5 years, and like I said, I used to do accounting and hotel management. And one night I was like, I really can't take this anymore, creator. I'm like, please, I'm getting older. I know I'm a poet. I just want to, have comfort. And then at that moment, spirit came to me and said, I got you. Now, I don't know if the creator talks in Ebonics, but that's how I heard it. I got you. And that night I
all
put,
languages.
yes. And I put that in I put in my resignation that night.
Mm,
And, like I said, over the last 2.5 years, I had mentioned some of the success that I've had, and I give that fully, to the creator. Not overly religious person, but I'm definitely spiritual. And you cannot knock results. And
right.
so I'm very, very thankful for
So
that.
so let me ask, how do you feel about Langston Hughes? One of the people in the chat said they like to say that Langston Hughes was an inspiration. Person is from Cleveland and grew up in the Caramoo House.
Okay. I've always dreaded this day. um, I don't like to disrespect the greats, one of the greatest writers.
Mm-hmm.
but quite frankly, well, actually, my first poetry competition, there had to be an investigation. I wrote a poem, and they said that it sounded like I stole it from Langston Hughes. And I was this 14, 15-year-old kid and was competing with people in college. And so there had to be an investigation. Then they turned up nothing, so they gave me my award. And then I started comparing myself. Like I said, please don't misunderstand. I'm not arrogant at all, but you have to start comparing yourself to the greats, like Langston Hughes and things. And I read several of his pieces. I think he's very, very good. But quite frankly, I think the women writers are superior. And when I mean women writers, I'm talking about Gwendolyn Brooks, Rita Dove, Nikki Giovanni. They get Sonia Sanchez, Lucille Clifton. They get credit, of course. But Langston is always the standard. And quite frankly, I think the women are better writers. It's just my personal opinion. But definitely, and as a matter of fact, I used to work at one of the hotels in Washington, D.C., where he worked. And he was he was actually discovered by another famous writer. He slipped him a note, and the guy liked his stuff, and then that started his career. So, in a nutshell, I hugely respect him. I have several of his books behind me, but quite frankly, I just like the women writers better. I salute the women.
Respect that. Everybody have their own opinion, who's their inspiration and everything like that.
When you say anything against, like, it's not against, but if you say anything slightly, against Langston Hughes, then you get slaughtered. So,
but I feel like, no, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
No. I'd be interested to hear your opinions on that.
No, well, what I was going to say was that you have a very unique style, the way you recite your poetry. Like, after a while, when you was coming on the show, I was like, yo, I need to be smooth and laid back like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yo, I need to change my temperature a little bit. And, sometimes, I don't know. I can't even say what style I have or anything like that. I just write, and whatever way it comes, and people tell me things, I'm like, all right, cool. But I was like, yo, he got that laid back, cool, chill, mellow joint. I said, I need to start involving myself with that type of demeanor in my writing. So, thank you anyway, though. Know what I mean? So it enhanced my, my flow and everything and writing and stuff. One time you said something about stepping outside the box with your writing and stuff. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I started doing, just going outside and see where my range is at. So I thank you, brother. You know what I'm saying, for that.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That's a great honor.
Salute on that.
Oh, thank you, man. You've been hosting the Poetry Corner for so long, and so many wonderful and diverse poets have been on this platform. So that's an honor for me. And I don't know how to receive that. I'm very thankful that you said that. But I do admire your style. As I said off camera, I think you have like jazz to your voice, which helps with delivery, and the subject matter is always on point. So I admire you as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You so much.
We've had many conversations on that, so things rub
Absolutely.
off. And besides, you're a King team member, so
King team.
King team. Tell you, man.
Yeah, that's another thing. I try to have a lot of alliances with a lot of different people. I am just really thankful to the creator. I think I shared with you off camera that there was a $1.1 million grant recently given out to several poets across the country.
Yeah.
And 3 of the colleagues I either have performed with in some capacity or have had some contact with, or one of them I was just talking to her on the phone the other day, or they've written me letters of recommendation and things of this nature. So I said to myself, dear God, dear creator, and I'm associating with these type of people, then maybe I'm headed in the right way. And like I said, it's only been 2 years. And I think part of that is because I really approach things genuinely. There are poets that are famous that I follow that they see me at their performances, but I never come up to them and say, "Hey, I write, hook me up." I think that's a horrible thing to do.
Yeah.
If you're going to support somebody, you support them. I'll go out and I will listen and I will learn. And I will go up and say, "Hey, great show. I'm just here to support you." And they see me constantly and they say, "Okay, hey." So then sometime one night, my wife and I went to a performance, and the author, who's a very famous author, I won't name him, said, "Hey, Brian, come on up to the front." You know what I mean? And this had gone on for about 8 years until finally I told him, "Hey, you know what? I do a little writing myself. But I've been following you because I'm learning from you, and I enjoy your spirit. I will come out and support you." And you know what he said to me? He said, "I already know, Mr. Poetry Man. I already know who you are,
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, and that was very humbling.
Yeah,
So like I said, don't go out there trying to use your colleagues. There's enough room for everybody.
that's
I
right.
think you and I share that. There's no jealousy in this thing. I
Nah,
want to help every poet. Contact me, briandonaldjames.com. Right? Go on my website, check out what I'm about, and then contact me. If you need, help or maybe you can help me. You know what I'm saying? It goes both ways.
true
And
facts.
yeah, so if your spirit vibes like that,
Mhm.
please, I'm an older man now, and I don't have time to be playing games, or
Yeah,
manipulating people. That's just not my nature. I couldn't sleep right if I did somebody wrong, bro.
yeah.
Uh, Time is too short that we have. But I digress. I'm going into other stuff. I'm
It's
sorry.
cool.
You asked me a
I
question.
mean, is there anything like you would like the audience out there to know about you, or like what's in the future for Brian Donnell James? What's in the future?
Well, I submitted to be on a writing competition that's going to be based out in San Francisco. So hopefully I make that cut. Um, I submitted for to be the poet laureate for this county, and hopefully, I'll be blessed to win that or to be a part of that. Um,
Okay.
and I I have a part of a couple of books that's coming out, but they're all anthologies. Again, I have two offers on the table for books, but
Yeah.
an offer doesn't mean that you take it. It has to be right. Like I want someone who can market my books so that they sell. Again, I have
I
a
hear you
passion
on
for
that.
what I'm doing, but I'm trying to move units. I
Yeah.
want to move units. Um, and I want to see my work in the libraries, just like when I was a kid and I could go pick out a Langston Hughes book or a
Right.
Rita Dove book or a Nikki. I want to, you know, have my grandchildren, great grandchildren be able to come out and put out a Brian Donald James book. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
I hear you on that.
yeah, so I'm not just going to sell it to anybody. I really, but I have a lot to think about in that regard. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, hey, well, we appreciate hearing that. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about, trying to push these units. You know what I mean?
you got to
Me and
move
you
it.
conversated about that. How about, even me doing my books and stuff like that. Like, what can we do better to get those units out there? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I just think the Poetry Corner is one of the best platforms for
Thank you.
poets. It's
Appreciate that.
it's you will hear everything, and that diversity only makes things better. You'll have young poets, old poets, black,
Mhm.
white, every race you can have, every
That's right.
sexual preference. Nothing is off limits. Everybody is just love
Right.
and respect, and the quality of poetry is superior to other things. And so, if I can help with the marketing in any way, this is what I love to do. I'm always trying to, make things,
Right.
better. So, and quite frankly, I love being around great writers. And there's so many brothers and sisters that can write so well.
Yeah.
I
True.
just enjoy listening, coming on this platform. So, again, it's always an honor.
Appreciative, man. Appreciative.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, you have another poem for us?
Sure. Let me see. Well, uh, I'll go into that poem that I wrote when I was 14 that they were trying to say that I took from Langston Hughes and had
That
to
you
be
was a
verified.
that you was a verbal thief.
Yeah, apparently, a 14-year-old kid, like, come on, man. Anyway, the name of the poem is Sweet Tones, Somber Tones. It's about a jazz player. So I'll get into that. Yeah, I hear those sweet tones, those somber tones in the night sky, and me all alone with this here old horn as my only ally. But I'm feeling good, feeling jazzy, playing up a storm. People hearing my sound, now they're coming in to get warm. Heads swing slowly, sorta side to side, fingers snapping, and I'm filled with pride because I'm entertaining my peoples in the chocolate city. I got my eye on that dark skinned girl looking pretty. Fever running, running wild. And this old woman say, go ahead, play it, child. It ain't no worry, just dancing and fun. See, wasn't nothing like this when the night begun. Yeah, these my peoples jam packing the place. You see, I'm proud of my culture and I'm proud of my race, and I'm giving them back something for what they gave me. And I'm loving every minute playing this old horn real jazzy. Short hair, cornrows, scarves, and braids, going out into the cold night as all the fun fades. Sweet tones, somber tones in the night sky. Me all alone with this here old horn as my only ally. In peace. Thank you.
All right, brother. All right. You be getting it in. That's what I'm saying. You got the tone and you just take off with it, man. You know your particulars. I mean, and like
Thank
I
you.
said, we appreciate having you on the poetry corner all the time. As being a fan of other poets and stuff like that, and the way they
Mhm.
recite, and it's been a real good flip. I mean,
Well, when I if I'm not able to participate, I'm always tuning in. I like to make a comment every now and then, in support.
yeah,
So like I say, this is one of the best platforms out there. So it's always an honor.
yeah. The thing about poetry, this is a question I might have asked you before, but I'm gonna ask right now for other listeners. How do you feel about art in the real world? Does art imitate life or life imitate art?
My question, excuse me, my answer to that is always both. I mean, they're they're intertwined. You can't have one without the other. And That's where it begins and ends, basically. I
Mm,
mean, there's stuff that I can write about that probably has already happened or will happen in the future, and
mhm.
there's stuff in real life that happens, and you're like, "Whoa, I couldn't write that."
Yeah, I feel you.
So yeah, so they're intertwined. That would be my answer to that.
All right, I have a poem I'm going to release tonight.
Oh,
This is
great.
this is titled "Cosmic Flip." Nowadays, I see my counselor's counselor. Who is my counselor? I guess my therapist wasn't really seeing a therapist. Can't have a Libra moment where the scales are uneven. How the hell I get rid of my demons? They still screaming, dreaming, slipping into the world of the Sandman. Where's my little intuition? I was born on August 1st. The curse, resurrecting the dirt from out my dark side. When I wake up from out my sleep, in the mirror I can't hide from me. King, I am supposed to be royalty, but pain got a hold of my true self. So now I get to the bay and meditate and pray. Inhaling the salt air, but in a Gemini way. Four personalities, yet some have it bad as me. Refusing to use the subtlety, that's my majesty. Last of a dying breed, still carry my prayer beads. Next time the devil come for me, I'm in God body speed. King.
Mm,
Thank you, bro.
lovely, lovely, lovely. You know,
Yeah, man. So
like
what you was about to say?
It's like I always say, your work, it's it's you, in terms of like spiritual, the way that you talk, your ways and actions are, and your art all walk together. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate you
Uh,
hearing that.
Correct. And that's why I enjoy talking with you, as well as performing with you and listening to you.
Appreciate that.
It's yeah, it's three-dimensional piece.
That's what's
So
up. Hey, we family anyway. Well, everybody out there.
yeah, full
Find-
disclosure, we found out that through ancestry.com that we are cousins down the line, I believe.
yeah, down the
So
line,
but we were already family before that.
no
So
doubt.
and then I started to notice, hey, we even look alike a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, I could see that. And
Yeah,
we
you,
both share a love for poetry. So
yeah,
I
you
can
on my
definitely.
grandmother's side, my mother's
I'm on your
side.
grandmama's side.
Yeah, my mother's side.
Okay, that's a good side to be on.
Just
I
like
love
Q,
I
he's on
love
my mother's father's side.
Okay. Hey, look, all my
Family, man.
all my work deals with, well, not to say all of it, but most of it deals with uplifting women, respect
Yeah,
for women,
right,
and matters, that pertain to women. So because I was raised by women, you know,
right. I feel
and
you.
I have a high respect,
Hmm.
for women. So
Well, a woman brought us into this world. You know what I mean?
absolutely,
So, know,
absolutely,
always
absolutely,
gotta respect the woman. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
that was one of the reasons I wrote, this book. Let me see, The Brighter Side of Me.
A beautiful cover, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I just said let me give something back to the women out there. You know what I mean? Before I
Indeed.
get involved with something else of
So where
writing.
can they cop that? They're gonna cop that on Amazon, Barnes and
Amazon,
Noble, everywhere.
Amazon. The Brighter Side of Me, Joel Washington Atterbury. You can get paperback, Kindle edition. So, and like I
That's awesome.
said,
That's
like
book
I said,
number what? 16?
17.
Book number 17. So
Yeah.
there you have it. Check this man
Yeah.
out. You won't regret his work. And like I said, this man is his art. There's no fakeness about it. You can tell in his delivery and who everything that he does, it walks right into with perfect spirituality, and he strives for that.
Yeah.
And I respect him for that. So,
I
so
appreciate
that,
I
you're
appreciate
right.
our conversations though, man. Not to cut you off, sorry, but
No,
I
no,
appreciate when we speak about things and it's just true life. You are one of the great influences to me as a
oh, come on, man.
conversationalist, and because we talk about real things that's going on in the world, how to be with other people, how to just exist in the world. You know what I mean? This world is dark right now. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say it's becoming dark. It's darkness. So we always got to walk in light. You
True.
know, don't matter what's going on, we still have to walk in light. So I mean, nobody's gonna have it easy, but keep your prayers up. you know, put the
Very
wind behind
important.
your back, get the
Yeah,
ground from beneath your feet, and keep it moving. You know what I mean?
I
So,
totally agree.
you have any last words for the audience out there?
Hey, I just want everybody to know I'm not, like I said, I don't try to say things too profound or whatever, trying to be, greater than what I am, but I can genuinely say I love everybody. And what I mean by that is that you took time out to tune into the Poetry Corner because we share love, for art and to support. And that's the greatest gift that you can give. Uh, that's the ultimate expression of love. So yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I appreciate it. And like I said, if you're interested in my work or just my vibe and want to connect, you can do that at briandonaldjames.com, or even on Facebook. Hit me up. I think I'm the only one, Brian Donald James. And I love to have a conversation with you about poetry and learn. You know, and I guess that would be my last words.
All right. Well, Brian Donald James, everybody. It's great having you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out to be on the King's Dream pop up on the Let's Talk Network. So everybody just remember, please share with other friends and family out there. Click like and subscribe to the channel, and also the Poetry Corner channel that's on YouTube. And as I always say, peace, love, and poetry. We out of here. See y'all next week. The Poetry Corner.
The Poetry Corner. The Poetry Corner. The Poetry Corner. The Poetry Corner.
The Poetry Corner.